maybe kind of similar to last week. Y'all got off to that hot start tonight, and offense just kind of struggled at times. Just what were you kind of seeing? What were the issues at times on drives?
I thought guys executed at a pretty high level throughout the night. Honestly, starts with me. Thought I didn't really execute to my standard, so pretty disappointed about that. Big shout out to our defense for playing the way that they're playing and getting us the ball back to give us more opportunities. So, we got to clean stuff up.
One of Dayton's catches kind of went viral during the game. Were you able to see that one as it happened? And what did you think of his day? And what does he mean to this team?
Yeah, I mean, he was absolutely rolling. He's got burners on him. So, I know now I can put it out a little bit farther. But, an incredible catch by him. He's just a huge spark for our team. Can do so many different things. He's like a slot but has outside receiver capability. So, he's very talented at what he does, and he's a huge part of our offense.
Jackson, you guys are 7-1 now. You getting ready to play Texas A&M with kind of the stakes getting higher and higher each week. Do you sort of sense that this team's prepared to make the kind of run that you guys weren't able to do last year?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is why we all came here. So, the standard is to, do everything that we can to go 1-0 each and every week and live in the moment, not get too far ahead of ourselves, and just stay consistent each and every week and keep the same mindset.
I know this time of the season everybody's is banged up to a degree. What's your health situation at this point?
I'll be good.
Jackson, kind of going off the 1-0 each week mentality, but I know you kind of hold yourself to a very high standard. Lane holds the program to kind of that high standard as well. And you guys are doing that week-to-week mentality. But based on this 4-game win streak and how successful you all have been, do you think you've kind of seen anything specifically throughout this last month that makes you think, okay, maybe we can, reach these standards that we have for this program?
Like I said, we brought in a lot of guys from the transfer portal. I came in last year and. Our focus coming in here was to win and to play it on the biggest stage at the highest level against the best teams and win those games. So, quite honestly, we've kind of had this vision from the off season, and so I wouldn't say we're like getting too far ahead of ourselves, but it's definitely something that we can feel good about, but at the same time, it's something that we can't feel satisfied, and we all got to really understand the big reason why we came here, and that's to win the national championship.
Jackson, aside from the slow start in the second half, it seems like this was the first time on this winning streak that your team was able to have a little bit of breathing room during the game. Just take me through what it's like in that first half offensive performance to get that cushion room going into the second half.
Yeah, well, our defense is playing at an elite level, so it's really nice to have that cushion. Like I said earlier, I felt like because of the offense's little lull that we had, I felt like a large part of that was because of me. So I just feel like I got to clean that stuff up and put our guys in the best situation to get the ball to the playmakers.
Jackson, I remember kind of in the summer you were talking about taking a trip this offseason, bringing some of your weapons out to California to train with them. Now you're 8 games in. Can you feel the impact that kind of those efforts had?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we haven't, as a whole group, as a whole room, it's not like we've had a ton of time with each other. It's not like we've been playing with each other for a really long time. A lot of us, like me and Trey, this is our first year playing together, and then everybody else, it's our second year playing together. So, definitely that extra work that you get outside the facility of, getting timing down and stuff like that plays a huge role into the season. And, I think it's definitely paid dividends to, taking the extra time out of, our free time to get that work in.
Looking at what your defense was able to do tonight, 5 sacks for the defensive line, one of the top pass rushes in the country. Speaking as a quarterback, I guess what does that do to an opposing quarterback? From your perspective, what kind of damage does that cause?
Yeah, I mean, it's really tough. It speeds things up for you. I think a lot of times when you start to get hit a lot, you kind of get those feelings of, the clock running down of how much time you have in the pocket, and it definitely affects the opposing quarterback. And, I think it showed that, the more pressure that you get, quarterbacks are going to make mistakes, and we were able to come up with 2 interceptions. So I thought a huge part of that was because of the pressure that we put on them.
How would you evaluate what you saw from Jordan Watkins today?
I mean, it's pretty incredible that he's able to play this quickly out of surgery. Just says a lot about him. I was hoping that, he could have got a little bit more of some cheers when they announced his name as a starter, because it really means a lot for the team, means a lot for me that he's willing to put himself out there when he's nowhere near 100% with his hand, and kind of just grind it out and, put the team first. And, just says a lot about him and what he's about.
Tight ends, I don't think tight end had a catch tonight. How do you go about, I guess, getting them more involved if you think that would be better for the offense going forward?
Yeah, well, I missed Hudson on a touchdown earlier in the game, so that would have been a big play. But, it's a week-to-week thing. You kind of have guys like D-Wade where, he might have a few slow games and all of a sudden he lights up. It's hard to predict when guys are going to have a really big game versus have a little bit slower of a game. But I think a big part of their role is, how great they are in the run game as well. They said a lot of, I said this last week, you saw how our run game started off this year without pre-scoring, and even when Hudson got hurt, and then they came in, and you look at how electric our run game is now. So they do a lot of really great things that doesn't really shine as much in the spotlight. But they're also great in the pass game too. So I definitely think we can use them a little bit more. But definitely like that earlier target in the game that was on me, and that should have been a touchdown. Appreciate it.
Seems like you're in a rhythm now. How's it feel? Look more like yourself.
I would say I've always been myself. Definitely, I think as an offense, we are starting to become in a great rhythm, especially in the second half of the season. I think that's what you need as a team to get as far as possible.
Saw you dunk after that first touchdown. How did that kind of start? Who thought of that?
It came up last minute, actually. We were on Fast Friday. It came up last minute, and KB came with a goal, and we was like, who playing basketball? But, it was last minute, and then it's whoever scores, you get to dunk and celebrate. So it's fun.
Quinshon, it seems like ever since that Alabama loss, this team has just had kind of an edge every single game, just finding ways to win. I know tonight was the biggest win margin y'all have had on this win streak, but just take me through what it's like going through the rest of the season and how that's going to build some confidence.
Definitely tough. I feel like just playing in this conference in itself is a tough thing to do. So each week you only have so much time to prepare, and you don't have time to sit and dwell on what you did the last game. So it's definitely tough because there's so many great teams in this conference, and you just definitely have to prepare the right way.
Quinshon, you mentioned that you've always kind of remained yourself, but your numbers the last 4 have had a big time uptick in terms of yards. What would you kind of say is kind of the meaning of that? How you've been able to do that?
I would say just not losing confidence in anybody around me, the scheme of what we've done, just remaining the same person I am, and things will align eventually. So I felt like that has been happening as an offense, and everybody has been, tempoing and scoring plays, scoring touchdowns.
Questions?
Thanks, guys.
2 interceptions, Trey. Just take us through those plays, I guess.
Yep, just being in the right spot, taking advantage of quarterback throw, and catching the ball that comes my way.
Thank you.
welcome.
That second one, it seemed like you were kind of frustrated at the end. Do you think you had open lane, I'm guessing?
I saw straight O-lineman that way, so I was about to reverse and get to going, but slipped, and, I was pretty frustrated.
I know Lane heading into this week and a few other guys on defense kind of talked about what those receivers were capable of doing. What for y'all to hold in the 60 yards, what does it kind of speak to that linebacker and secondary?
Execution and being on the same page. We always felt like this year when we're on the same page and we're communicating well, we're going to be the top defense. So we proved that tonight, and now it's time to prove it again as the season goes along.
Coach Kiffin mentioned when we talked to him about how much he appreciated what Pete Golding had done. Just curious as your thoughts about playing for him, and the numbers are obviously much different than last year. And just what's your thoughts on Pete Golding as defensive coordinator?
He's a pro coach. Like, he's preparing us for the pros. He expects us to have a pro mindset every day we come in, and it's just a workman type attitude with him. And we all are bought in and taking advantage of the scheme.
Trey, what was the matchup with when Walter Taylor came in? You know, I know you guys hadn't really seen anything on film. Just talk to me about how it was out on the field.
Oh, he's big, first of all. But obviously it would have been more run-oriented than we expected because Vanderbilt has such a threatening pass. So we had to get ready to get our heads in the hitting game. And, yeah.
Trey, from your perspective in the secondary, what's changed with the pass rush this year? 5 sacks tonight, top 5 in the country coming in. What's different about that group?
Well, that group's pretty much the same from last year. But we're just dogs, and dogs going to be dogs. They're going to keep eating. So, yeah.
Last year, you guys were at this point 7-1. Why do you think this year can be different?
I think the emphasis in the offseason is a big difference this year. It was more so culture-based this offseason and more focused on finishing. And so we're all not even complacent right now. We're all focused on the next matchup and finishing like we didn't do last year. Appreciate y'all.